So just got in the car, getting ready to go. Just went through my really basic morning routine. I got up on the morning news a little bit, went downstairs, got my lunch ready, got dressed, got my water with some electric lights. I'm gonna hit this on the way down the mountain. And earlier last night, I sat down, went over my schedule, made sure I had everything I needed for today, reached out to my driver to let him know what time I need him to meet me. And here we are. So pretty basic, try to keep my morning routine really quick. I can do the same morning routine no matter where I'm at because it's basically just getting dressed. And before I work out, today I did not work out. It's Thursday, slept in a little extra today. It was nice. But tomorrow I'll get up earlier, work out, but I do the same routine. It's just a little earlier in the morning, to where today it's a little later in the morning. Tuesday mornings, I meet with my guys. Those are some of my closest friends. It's pretty casual. We meet at a coffee shop around 6 a.m. We're just catching up on life. Just a great group of guys. Yeah, and it's just a time for us to see what's going on in each other's lives. Sometimes there's some crisis going on, or, people get stressed out about their kids, their wives, their work. And then sometimes we just talk and relax and take it easy. But it's a great opportunity. That's been a standing meeting I've had on my calendar for multiple years. And it's awesome. It's a great group of guys. Going into the holidays, we'll probably take a little bit of break because everyone's going to be traveling, but it's just a fantastic time. Every once in a while, we'll do a little venture out together, go to a concert, go skiing together, that type of stuff. But 99% of the time, we're just meeting on Tuesday mornings, grabbing coffee. So there's 3 or 4 elements of my business that I would think, or I would say, are more crucial. They're areas where we've leveraged more and have made the greatest impact so far. Now, there'll be other things that we'll do in the future, so these things will change. But those 4 things, first off, we have subcontractors that handle all of our painting. And that's a fantastic way for me to minimize the oversight that is needed, but there's still some oversight that I have to put into it, but it's pretty minimal. Any given day, I have 30 to 40 painters out installing, painting projects, getting things done. Second thing is admin. So one of those people is my wife. She's basically the CFO. Third person is our scheduler and follow-up. We've just recently added a second component to that where we actually have a call center who takes all of our calls, which has worked out incredibly well. They also handle scheduling. And then the other admin, she takes care of follow-ups and just kind of catching the stuff that falls through the cracks, or takes care of things that the call center can't handle. The fourth aspect is my driver. And that's actually where we're on the way to meet him. He is great. I brought him on actually pretty early on in the business. What I found that I was limited. If I was going to be doing, anywhere from 6 to 8 estimates a day, I didn't have time to be managing the subs, following up with the homeowners, and doing all the other things that needed to be done because I would be sitting behind the steering wheel. So rather than hiring a project manager that was going to cost me, anywhere from $50,000 to $80,000 a year, I could hire, a young guy in college or maybe an older guy retired to drive for me while I'm sitting in the back in between all the estimates. I'm working on my computer, answering emails, following up, and just really building the infrastructure of the business. That's worked out incredibly well and been super stoked about that. That's who we're going to meet right now. We'll pick this up once I'm in the back seat and I have a driver up here. All right, so we're about to pull up to meet my driver and we're gonna get our day started. All right, I'm all situated in the back here, about to get the day going, and we're on the way to the chiropractor. But we'll work a little bit later to make up for it, period. One of the things that we do a lot in the backseat of the car, we have my good friend here, Kylan, who's driving. We do musicals sometimes, so maybe a little later today, we're gonna do like an NSYNC number. We're gonna do like a I can't even talk. We're gonna do a dance. And then maybe we'll even I don't even know a good musical, but we should try it. Look at him. He looks like a musical guy with the long hair and everything. Yeah, we should definitely do a musical later. Stretching the back out a little bit, getting the shoulders opened up. Hey Alberto, how you doing this morning? I'm doing all right. Hey, I wanted to check and see everything's still good for, you're gonna do this touch-up Saturday morning and then head over to my house. Is that the plan? Just got done checking in with all the guys. Coming up on Thanksgiving, so it's a little slower right now, but we give every crew a call, check in, make sure that they're on the job site or that they're on the way to the job site, check in to see if there's any issues or concerns or question, kind of gauge the temperature of the customer as well, to see if the customer's had any questions. A lot of times I can gauge if there's any issues by just talking to my crew. Based on what they're saying, I can kind of tell if the customer's feeling antsy or annoyed about anything. Additionally, checked in with the office, went through my email, and that's just to kind of make sure that any hot items, anything that needs to be addressed first thing this morning gets dealt with before we get into the hustle of the day. Going into the chiropractor, spent a lot of time sitting in the car, and so now I'm going to go in and get adjusted. You have to come in the door too. You can't stay behind me. You can't walk through doors, even though you are a cameraman. We're gonna get some adjustments done. Pulls my back, helps my hips, and Ghost Town Chiropractor, they're the best. Better than the other white powder that's out there on the market. So we're going to our first estimate of the day. It's the interior, and let's make this one. All right, so normally we would have a lot of estimates moving into Thanksgiving. Also, it's a slower season here in Colorado because we're doing this documentary, Day in the Life. I forgot to get coffee this morning, so we're gonna go get coffee now because I'm tired and my brain is foggy. But yeah, other things right now, after the estimate, I typically hop back in my email, kind of see what's going on, see if I have any messages. When I was done with that, I had, let's see, how many messages? I had 3 unread messages, address those, hop into the email, go over that, and also get prepared for my next meeting. In the future, I'll do less of that interaction. One of the things that I learned from my brother who runs a high-level e-commerce business is that it's important to have a good system in place and have it not perfect, but refined before you try to scale it. Because if you try to scale something that's not refined, it's just going to shoot off in the wrong direction, and it just becomes harder to correct it. So if I was to hire someone and they did a job incorrectly or not the way I wanted it done, or the process just wasn't refined, and we started changing stuff 6 months, a year into it, it's a lot harder to reteach someone after they've already created bad habits versus kind of refining that system and then hiring someone. Although you're always going to have a refining process, it's better to try to clean it up as much as you can before you start putting people in those positions. So that's what we're in the middle of. I've been a painting contractor for close to 20 years, but I've only been really thoughtful about scaling in good systems over the past 5 or 6 years. So we're putting a lot of attention on that. We're hoping to bring on some additional sales folks either this next year or the year after, and we'll be able to really accelerate the business once we do that. But again, it's really important to get things dialed in, refined. If not, you're going to be depending on other people to refine those systems. And the reality is they may not be good at refining systems. They may just be charismatic and good at selling. So it's important that you have good systems in place and good checks and balances. Even if the system's not 100%, you have good checks and balances to be able to see where you need improvements. we needed some caffeine, but this looks really good too. So,
what is that? Like an acai bowl?
I mean, it's all good, healthy stuff. It's got like
Protein,
some peanut butter, yeah, some bananas, a little bit of nuts on there. We're gonna look at an exterior. It's a full fence inside now, and then we're gonna look at doing some stuff on the house as well. Customer's not meeting us, but it's a good opportunity to try to upsell this particular job because based on some pictures that I saw, the house is in really bad shape too. So maybe a budgetary thing, but we're gonna go take a look at it, see what needs to be done, and then give him some options and at least get the fence, but possibly do the whole house. If not today, then we'll do it in the near future, hopefully. So responding to some emails, I do a little dictation here. I just speak and it writes whatever I want for the most part. Most of the time it has some typos and different things like that because most humans don't speak very clearly, and I am definitely one of those humans. And so I copy and paste that into ChatGPT and I ask it to edit a text. I typically tell it it's a text that I'm sending because then it's less formal. If I tell it to edit an email, it gets very formal and it's just not how I would normally interact with my customers. So then it's going to write that up and then I read that and this is what it says.
Higher quality paint will last longer and prove more durable. For instance, high quality paints contain titanium and other premium fillers that degrade more slowly under sunlight and are more resistant to clean. Would you like to proceed with scheduling this project using a higher quality paint? This version maintains the original meaning while enhancing readability and clarity.
See? I take that.
Higher quality paint will last longer and
I take that and then I drop it into my email and send it over to the customer. That is one of the dyslexic tools that I use to make my life more efficient. I'm gonna pop out and check on this job. We've had guys here for the past couple days. They'll wrap up today or tomorrow. And one of the things that I like to do when I'm in the area is I'll just pop in, say, hey, it just builds some rapport with my guys, and then also just to try to cut off any crises before they happen.
All right, so you're the driver. What is your least favorite part of the job?
Least favorite part of the job, probably just the more extended drives. Most of our drives are only, 15 to 45 minutes. Sometimes though, if we're driving from Colorado Springs back to Boulder, if it's in traffic or something, we've been 2.5 hours or something, which is still not too bad, but as a whole, there's nothing too bad about the job, so that would probably be my least favorite.
And how many hours, like a day or a week, you guys drive?
A week, during the busy season, I definitely had weeks where I was driving or like working for over 40 hours. And then, it's broken up. So, Adam has talked about all the estimates are roughly 30 minutes. So I'm not driving during those periods of times, but the actual driving time every day is several hours, 4 or 5 hours. I'd probably say on average. Since I started back in April. So a few months now, I've put probably 30-ish thousand miles on the car that I've noticed. And annually in the past, they've put, I think, around 75,000 a year. So yeah, definitely getting around quite a bit.
All right, so we're headed to our next project. It's one that we're already working on. It's about an hour and 45 minutes away because we're on the other side of Colorado. So between now and then, we're going to work on some estimates, work on some emails, and get things ready for the next week. So we're getting to a job site where the guys are working. And this is part of my weekly routine, just stopping in, checking on the guys. Most of the guys already know what they're doing, so these stops are pretty straightforward. Sometimes they even feel almost a little worthless, but they're not, because they help build rapport with the crews, and then they also help just build more rapport with the customer for repeat business and referral business. So let's hop out and see what's going on, making sure everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing. Looks crummy. it was sitting in the bushes. It's not a perfect system. We're still refining. Come on. You know, if they see me picking up trash and tidying up, it inspires them to do a little better as well. So try to lead by example where I can. So one of the things that we look for too is I like to kind of get at a certain angle on the house, and that just helps kind of see it, make sure that the paint's on there consistent. Also, we're just kind of checking to make sure there's no areas that need to be touched up. It's a little bit of quality control too. If I can see it, the owner can see it. Also, cleanup is probably the biggest thing. Is when you're doing this all day, every day, sometimes you get a little just in a groove and you're not paying attention to all the details. So I try to look at some of those details just to make sure everything's covered and just right. Because there's nothing worse than an owner seeing something, and then as soon as they see it, then they're going to start looking for more detail. So it's better just to stay on top of it. If I'm catching it, it makes the homeowner feel a lot better when they do their final walk. If they're just finding really minor things, it's just a better experience for the homeowner, and it makes us look better. So one of the things that I was concerned about, I was just talking to the guy over here, one of the things that happens sometimes in painting, kind of getting into a little technical stuff about painting, but if the coating's not consistent, it'll just, obviously it looks bad. So one of the things that we have to do is go back and what we call back rolling it. And it just helps create a even and unified finish on the side. They've already taken care of it. All right, everything's looking good here. We're actually going to pop out. The owner's not here, and I don't try to plan the trips to meet with the owner. The owner's here, great. The real primary purpose of coming is to do some quality checks and then also just interact with the sub. I try to let my lead guys interact with the owner, because if I step in and start interacting with the owner, well, then they're going to start directing their questions to me. And I really want them to feel comfortable interacting with the guys on site, because I have faith in them. And I start to show doubt by bypassing the lead guy on the site and going directly to the owner, even if it's just subconsciously, they're going to be like, oh, well, Adam felt the need to check in with me, so I should check in with him. And then I'm trying to do all the things which we want to avoid. So everything's looking good. We're going to head out to the next one and go from there. So a funny story. I went to work with my dad when, I don't know, it was probably 12 or so, and we were at this big condo, and in the lobby they had video games, arcade games, and we were playing Area 51, which was one of the games that me and my dad really enjoyed playing a lot. And we played for a minute. Of course, he was in the middle of his workday, so he's like, I gotta go. And I was gonna get a ride with one of the superintendents that was there on the job too. The guy told me, he's like, all right, it's time to go. And I just kept hanging out playing and kind of ignored him. So he left me there. I went outside about, I don't know, 15 minutes later to see where he was, to get in the car or whatever. And he had left me. And I had to walk about 2 hours to where I knew some guys were at another job site. And finally I got picked up after lunch sometime, but it was a long ass walk. So this is how we roll. We get some food, get a little music going, Notorious B.I.G. with Puff Daddy, Diddy, or whatever the hell his name is these days. This is from my childhood. Kylan's favorite. Then we got Mace.
So what are you eating?
So every day I eat a pound of meat, and this has a little lower protein, so we're getting extra protein tonight. We're eating a steak, and I'm super excited about this. This is just some pulled pork, smoked, and honestly, most of the time I just eat it cold because I just don't care. I just want the food, so I'm not hungry anymore, and we go from there.
So this one
kind of
cold.
looks like dog food, but I don't care because it doesn't taste like, well, hell, it might taste like dog food. I've never had dog food, but I don't think it's what dog food tastes like, because it tastes like good smoked pulled pork, and it's cold. All right, so this is a house. We're doing the interior. We're also doing some exterior stuff, but let me show you a little bit of what we're doing. We're doing a pretty extensive remodel. That's why we can see everything. But we got the guys in here. This is Mr. Moses, one of our top painters, getting some stuff done. And see, we got everything protected, ceiling's done, and they're just working their way through. So walk back out this way and I'll show you a few other things that we're doing. See here, we haven't painted these walls, but we've painted these walls, and they're still doing some cleanup back in there. Looks like it's still a lot to be done, but this area will all be finished by the end of the day today. And we'll have all this cleaned up, looking really good here in the next day or two. So take a look as we walk out, and we'll see you next week. So finishing up our day, typically my last estimate is around 6:30 during our busy season. In the slower season, which we're coming into, which is in the winter months, we live in Colorado, so it just tends to be a little slower during the winter season. I try to knock off a little bit earlier, closer to 5. I also take off more time. Typically 1 day a week, I'll go ski with my kids. They're both homeschooled. So that's a great way to just be able to work in some more family time. In our busy season, I don't really do anything extracurricular. Sometimes I'll go to a concert or something like that in the evenings, but mostly family based. Just don't have a lot of extra time for hanging out and doing other things. But we're getting ready to double down again and kind of go into a time of transition. One of my kids is about to graduate. The other one's in high school. And so looking forward to growing the business some more. As we do that, we'll probably cut back on some of the skiing. Honestly, we were skiing twice a week, and now we'll probably cut back to once a week during the winter months. And we're also going to start onboarding some people. So hopefully we'll be able to continue to grow and be able to maintain a very similar lifestyle to what we have in regards to time restraints. Yeah, so we're really looking forward to that. We're actually headed back now. We have a spot that me and Kylan, driver, we meet. We're headed back to his car, and I'm going to drive back up the mountain back to my house. All right, we just got wrapped up with our day. Just dropped Kylan back off, my driver, and now we're headed home, headed up the mountain. There's a professor from NYU. His name is Scott Galloway. He's a brilliant businessman, entrepreneur. I've heard him talk about this analogy. If you spend more time watching other people sweat more than you sweat, the likelihood of your success goes down. And the principle there is doing hard things. Not all millionaires work out every day or 3 days a week, but the most common consistent thread between all millionaires is how often they work out, and they consistently do it. So if you want to be successful, do hard things. The first year I broke $1 million was the first year I worked out consistently for over 3 days a week. Again, if you want to do big things, if you want to do successful things, you got to do hard things. You got to do things that other people aren't willing to do. And that's what sets you apart from everyone else. If you want to be like the 1%, don't live like the 99%.